Hello and welcome to Expats Everywhere. Today we have a really exciting interview. If you could, please tell us your name, where you're from, and a little about yourself.
Hi, my name is Milos. Originally, I'm from Belgrade, Serbia, and I've been traveling quite extensively. I finished school in the United States. I lived in Greece, lived in Cyprus for a while, and now I'm living in Toronto, Canada for the last 5 years.
Okay, great. Well, tell us, what countries have you worked in?
I worked primarily in Serbia, in Montenegro, which used to be a same country, but then they went their own separate ways. And then I also tried to get a job in the States, but now I've been working in Canada for about 4 years.
Okay, so what is it like working in Canada?
Working in Canada is quite similar to working in European countries. I would say it's less competitive than working in the States. However, it has its advantages.
Okay, and what kinds of jobs are available for foreign expats?
For foreign expats, when you get here, you have to go through a series of what people like to call survival jobs. They mostly are in retail, sales, and it also depends on a number of factors, right? You need a little bit of luck. You need some connections. If you know people, that definitely helps. But for the most part, you will start in retail, and then you will move your way up once you get your certificates, once you get accustomed to how things work here. So usually the average time you need to find your feet in Canada is about 2 years.
Okay, great. Well, tell us, what does a typical day look like for you at your job? What do you do?
Currently, I am a project coordinator for Salvation Army headquarters for Canada and Bermuda. My day consists of course, coming to work every day on time, and then basically what I do is we are centralizing the payroll system. So I am in touch with multiple ministry units, shelters throughout the Canada area. We're gathering their information and setting them up to a new payroll system. We're centralizing everything so we can pay them.
Okay. And I'm assuming that you have other friends that are not Canadian. So could you tell us some of the jobs that they have?
I have a lot of friends that are not Canadian. One of my friends works as a district manager for a cell phone company. He's selling cell phones. I have another friend who's also a project manager. I have a friend who's a cook. Different variety of areas that people work in.
Okay, so across all industries, really.
Yes.
How much can you expect to earn in Canada for a position like you have?
For a position like I have currently, it's probably between $18 an hour up to $25 an hour. And then as you move up, it goes up. Every company has different way of dealing with salary. At certain companies, you will get like a percentage increase every year. At certain companies, they might decide based on the merit to give you more. Some companies will keep you at the same level. It's just different situations throughout different industries.
Is it typical to get paid by the hour, by the month?
Usually in Canada, when you're doing administrative works, for the most part, you're paid bi-weekly.
Okay.
So you get your hourly rate, but you're paid bi-weekly. In retail, usually how it works, you have, for the most part, you have your base salary that is then added with commission, depending on how much you sell. You also have some positions that are 100% commission.
Okay. So you said at a job like yours, it's between 18 and
23 to 25.
25. Is this enough money? What kind of lifestyle can you live with this type of money?
You can have your basic needs covered, because if you are to do the math on a monthly level, that comes to about $2,600 net, and that is enough for two people to have their rent paid, all the bills paid like cell phone, electricity, and to have your basic, like you will be cooking mostly at home. Like
Okay.
you can go to a restaurant, you will not be able to save a lot, but 2,000 to 2,500 should be enough for two people to make it through the month in Toronto.
Okay, great. Well, speaking of savings, but how much can you save?
It all depends on your lifestyle. If you like going out and if you like seeing things and you don't want to sacrifice, then you can probably save up a couple $100 off every paycheck. If you are a little more stringent, so if you like to kind of take care of your money and you just cover your basic needs, and again, you eat at home more than outside, then you can save more.
Okay. How much money do you need to start up in Canada? So you're moving to Canada from another country. How much do you think safe to start up?
Well, Canada has a requirement that you have to bring in at least 20,000 US, 20,000 Canadian.
Okay.
That's enough in their eyes to get you started for at least 6 months, which is probably the time that it takes you to get all your paperwork in order, to start looking for a job and to get a job. When we were coming here, that is approximate amount that we brought with us. However, me and my wife were fortunate enough that she was able to get a job fairly quickly, so we had the income, so we saved a lot of what we brought.
Okay. So how should someone pack to move to Toronto, and what's the weather like there?
The weather is cold. The weather is definitely cold. You should bring all of your sweaters, all of your jackets. The weather in the wintertime is harsh. It gets to like minus 20, sometimes even more. And the winter usually lasts from November to about April. That's when it's really cold. And then that period, April and May, it's still kind of cold. You need a jacket. And then once the June comes, it gets warmer, it gets humid, and it's nicer. For most people coming, let's say, from a climate where you used to have spring, just forget about it. It switches from winter to summer pretty much right away.
Okay. Are there any things that you should bring from home that you can't find in Canada?
Well, in my case, coming from Serbia, when I came to Canada, because there is a huge Serbian population, I realized that the stores had most of the product that we had back home. So honestly, there weren't that many things that we were missing or that we couldn't find here. What's interesting about Toronto that it is a melting pot, and a lot of different people from a lot of different cultural backgrounds are living here, and they have their own little communities with their own stores where you can probably find a lot of products from back home. So I don't think wherever you're coming from that you will be missing out on anything. Plus, you will have a chance to try out different stuff from different parts of the world all in one city.
Oh, that sounds awesome. How safe is it there, and do you feel safe personally?
Toronto is probably one of the safest cities in the world. The crime rate is really low. You can walk at any time of the day or night and feel fairly safe. Certain spots in downtown where they do have shelters tend to be a little rougher later at night, but it's nowhere near to a lot of cities that I've been throughout the world.
Okay. How do you meet people, and what can you do for fun?
Toronto has a lot to offer. It's a city that's basically on the lake. It's close by water. There's a lot of parks. People live an active lifestyle downtown. That means there is a lot of bars, restaurants, museums. So pretty much whatever your interests are, you can find something to do in Toronto. As far as meeting people, people are taking different avenues. Nowadays, they're even going online to websites like Meetup or Thousand Coffees. Thousand Coffees is especially good if you want to network, trying to find a job. But also, all you have to do is just go to a bar, go to a pub, start a conversation. People are fairly open, and you can have a friend.
Cool. Do you think that Canada or Toronto is a good travel hub? Why or why not?
I would say that it is. Toronto get a lot of tourists throughout a year. They have a lot of attractions. They have the Ripley's Aquarium, for example. There is some architecture worth seeing. Right now, the Pan Am Games are going to start, so that should bring in a lot of people. But it's a definitely city that's worth seeing
Okay.
and visiting.
And is it a good travel hub for you if you want to travel to other places?
Yes, it's pretty well connected because from Toronto you can fly pretty much anywhere in the world. You can go to the States, you can go to Asia, you can go to Europe. It has direct flights. It's a good place to connect. So what you can do, you can fly in Toronto, stay there for a while, then zip to Vancouver, see that part of Canada, and then just move on to the States, move on to Asia. It depends where you're going.
Okay. Well, let's finish up here. Could you tell us some pros and cons of living in Canada and Toronto specifically?
Pros, it's once you get your feet to the ground, once you get integrated, it's a beautiful place to live. You can make money, you can save money, and at the same time, you don't have to sacrifice anything. Another positive, again, it's a huge city where you can meet people from all over the world. Everybody's living in unison, everybody's living together, and whether you want to try a Greek specialty or a Peruvian specialty or a Serbian specialty, you can find that within the city. Summertime is really nice, even though it's really short. You can sit in the patios, you can walk around, a lot of things to do. You can ride a bike, you can live an active lifestyle. When it comes to the negative sides, it's winter. It's the weather. It's the winter. Long winters. You need to get your vitamin D pills because you will not get a lot of sun. And honestly, other than that, I don't see any downsides to living here.
Well, that sounds great. Milos, we really appreciate your time. Thank you for chatting with us, and we wish you the best in the future.
Thanks for having me.